So, good morning. Second year BA Computer Applications, Semester 4, Computer Networks, revision class, Computer Networks, Network Models, revision class. So, what are the different types of networks? Network models are there. So, layered tasks. What is a layer? Layering, network layering. We use the concept of layers in our daily life as an example. So, generally we in computer networks or networks, this data model, we may use different terms or terminology. First one is sender, receiver, carrier hierarchy. Carrier hierarchy means, so what is the sender? Sender is the host one computer or terminal or workstation. Receiver is the receiving station or receiver computer. So, and carrier hierarchy. Hierarchy means the step by step manner or the rules or something else. So, tasks involved in sending a letter. This is the simple example. So, sender and receiver. This is the simple example day to day life. So, same steps or tasks will be followed in network models also. So, basically there are two types of network models. First one is OSI reference model or OSI reference model or OSI model. OSI means open systems, open systems interconnection, or it is also called as ISO OSI. ISO means International Standard Organization, OSI means open systems interconnection. So, in this model, so why we required layered technology or why we required some data models means to send some data or information, via through some physical media or through some physical medium over to communicate data or some information. We divide the task into different layers for easy of purpose and for various reasons like securities and error detections. Various parameters are used, so that topics discussed in this section are what are the OSI model, what are the layered architecture, why we require layers, and peer-to-peer process and encapsulation, all these things. So, OSI is the model. OSI is the one of the network model. OSI means Open Systems Interface Interconnection. It is a ISO international standard developed by designed by international standard organizations. So, it follows all the throughout the world. So, next one is, so the layered, the network data communication or the communication process in a network is divided into several parts. First one is the physical layer, second one is data link layer, network layer, transport layer, session layer, presentation layer, and application layer. So, these are the 7 layers. First layer called as a physical layer. Each layer has a separate job or task to be completed, and each layer follows some protocols, rules, regulations like that, and each layer is communicated. Each layer is communicated from host 1 to host 2, means the host 1 in from computers host 1 to host 2, each layer is communicated with each other. So, what are the 7 layers of OSI model? First one is physical layer, data link layer, application layer, transport layer, session layer, presentation layer, and application layer. So, the interconnection between layers in the OSI model. So, device A or node A or workstation A, device B, node B or workstation B, intermediate node. So, physical layer So in this diagram there are two devices or hosts are there. Each device or host is divided into 7 layers, and each layer of host A and B are communicated with each other, or to transmit data or information or some signals, provide services through each other. And each layer is provided by serviced by a protocol, and there is a connection between one layer to another layer in each device, that is called as an interface between physical and data link layer, data link and network layer, network and transport layer, like this. So this, and the design, the OSI model is developed in ways that each layer is designed to provide services to the upper layer. Means physical layer is provide services to data link layer, and data link layer provide services to network layer, and network layer provide services to transport layer, in that way. So this is the working of a division of a OSI reference model. Each layer is using some set of rules and protocols and regulations. They are called as protocols. Generally in physical layer, bits are transmitted, and data link layer packets are used, frames are used, network layer packets are used, like that. And each layer is provided with this separate protocol is separate protocols are used for each layer to transmit data or information. So an exchange using OSI model. So by using some transmission media, two computers or two hosts are connected. Generally we require to send some data and information from host 1 to host 2, host 1 to host 2. So in the in the first layer, it is bits are transmitted, and each layer some packets are used. In each layer the transmission is generally takes place in two parts. The record or the transmission takes place in the two parts. So in the first part it is called as some header like H1, H2, H3, H4, H6, and second part contains the data or information. So first part, each layer the data or information is transmitted or from one host to computer second host by using, so the data frame, the syntax of the data frame is like this. The first part contains some header, and second part contains the data part. In the header part, it generally contains all the information like from sender address and receiving address, and the number of the data part contains the data or information to be transmitted, like this. So layers in the OSI model. In this section we briefly describe the functions of what are the functions, different functions of each layer in the OSI model. So topics discussed in this section are physical layer, data link layer, network layer, transport layer, session layer, presentation layer, and application layer. So in the physical layer, so this is the working of a physical layer diagram. So host 1 and host 2 are workstation 1 and workstation 2 are PC 1 to PC 2. So physical layer is connected to data link layer. So physical layer is generally in the host 1, from the data link layer the data is received to physical layer, and in the host 2 it is connected to data link layer. So through this diagram, by using some transmission media, the data communication will takes place. So the physical layer is responsible for movements of individual bits from one host or node to the next. So what is the main services or working of a physical layer is, it is in the physical layer the data or the bits means binary digits are used to communicate from one node to another node, or one computer to another computer, or one system to another system. So data bits are used as a units in the physical layer to transmit data or information. So next layer is data link layer. data link layer means second layer is data link layer. In physical layer generally bits are used as a data transfer part. In the data link layer frames are used. In data link layer generally frame. What is a frame? A frame is nothing but it is some set of bits, some collection of bits, and each frame has some syntax or some design, like some header part and data part. Header part contains all the senders and receivers information, while data part contains the data to be transmitted, and like that. So this is the working of a data link layer. So from host 1 and host 2, or node 1 and node 2, from node 1 in node 1 from network layer we receive the data information by using this format h2 data t2. It is called as a frame. It is the syntax of a frame. Every frame have two parts, three parts: headers, data, and some t2 or something. So it simply pass the data or information to physical layer, whereas in host 2 receives the same data or information from physical layer, and in the format of same, that is h2 data t2, it is also a frame, and pass it to the network layer. So in host 1 from top to bottom the data is transmitted, whereas and the data information is passed through physical media, and whereas in the host 2 from physical layer, that is from bottom to top, the data will be passed. Next, so the data link layer is responsible for moving frames from one node to the next. So in physical layer bits are used, in data link layer frames are used. What is a frame? A frame is a collection of some bits, and frame, what is the syntax of a frame? Each frame is have some header part and data part.
ఫోనా పోస్ట్ మ్యాన్ అండి, నా చీర వచ్చిందంట. నేను ఇలా పోస్ట్ మ్యాన్ మాట్లాడుతున్నాను. ఎక్కడండి? మైత్రిలో. నేను మైత్రి అడ్రస్ చెప్పుకుంటే మైత్రి తెలుసండి, వాళ్ళ లోపల ఎక్కడ అన్నారు. ఫస్ట్ లైనేనండి.
సో node to node delivery or workstation to workstation delivery, how to deliver data or information. So this is end system. So third layer is network layer. Third layer is called as network layer. What is a network layer? Network layer is the third layer. First one is physical layer, second one is data link layer, and third one is network layer. In the network layer we may use packets. In the network layer we may use packets as a data transmission part. In the network layer we may use packets as a data. What is a packet? Packet is nothing but it is also some set of frames, or group of frames. Here every packet have two parts again, header part and the data part. Header part contains the heading details or address details of the senders and receiving packets to be transmitted, while data part contains some data or information. So in host 1 generally it is transmitted from we receive data from transport layer to the network layer, and network layer passes again information to the data link layer, and in host 2 from data link layer we receive the packets from data link layer. We generate the packets here and they pass on to transport layer. This is the basic working of the network layer. So the network layer is responsible for the delivery of individual packets from the source host to the destination host. Generally data transmission లో మనకి టూ పార్ట్స్ ఉంటాయి, టూ hosts 1 host 2, లేదా టూ కంప్యూటర్స్, లేదా టూ సిస్టమ్స్, లేదా టూ నోడ్స్, ఏవైనా ఒకటే మనకి. ఇవన్నీ కూడా దే ఆర్ ఆల్ కాల్డ్ as టూ సిస్టమ్స్ ఆర్ టూ hosts like that. Transport layer. So fourth one is called as transport layer. In the transport layer, the data is divided into TPDUs or segments. TPDUs or segments, and in the transport layer we may receive data from session layer, and it is again the TPD is divided into header part and data part, and it sends the data information to network layer, and in host 2 we receive the data from network layer to gather the segments and pass on to session layer. So the network layer is responsible for the delivery of message from one process to another. So the network layer is responsible for the delivery of a message. In the network layer we may use messages. In the network layer, in the transport layer we may use messages or segments. So the network layer is responsible for the delivery of a message from one process to another. So in this diagram, so what is the host to host delivery and process to process delivery. So in transport layer, generally the data will be transferred in the process to process. It is also called as process to process delivery, whereas in network layer it is transferred to host delivery. Session layer. So the fifth or sixth layer is session layer. It is also same. It receives data from presentation layer, and here we are using the same session layer. Some format is there, and it would simply pass on the data or information to transport layer, and like that. So the session layer is responsible for dialogue control and synchronization. Session layer is, what is a session? Session means connecting to a internet or connecting to a connection, establishing connections. The session layer is generally used to establish some connection to the connection on the network by using various hosts. So to establish connections and to remove connections we may use session layer. Session layer is the responsible for the connecting through various nodes. Presentation layer. The presentation layer is responsible for translation. The presentation layer is responsible for translation, compression and encryption. Application layer. So application layer is responsible for providing services to the user. The last layer is application layer, and it is mainly designed to provide services to the applications of the, means here we may use various applications running on a system or a network. So summary of the layers. What are the layers summary? What are the design various layers and how they, what are their duties, what are their purposes? Means physical layer to transmits bits over a medium to provide mechanical and electrical specifications. Physical layer is designed mainly to transmit bits over a medium. Medium is physical medium like copper media, category 5, cat 5 cables, twisted cable, pair cables, like that. So physical layer is mainly designed to transmit bits over a medium to provide mechanical and electrical specifications. Data link layer. Data link layer is used to organize bits into frames to provide host to host delivery. So in data link layer the bits are gathered or formed into a frame, and these frames are delivered or transmitted from hope to hope, means from node to one node to another node in data link layer. The third layer is network layer. In the network layer, to move packets from source to destination to provide internet working. So network layer, what is the working of a network layer? It is mainly used to connect or interconnect two or nodes. Two nodes are working interconnect two nodes or two workstations or two systems on a network. In network layer it is, we may use packets from source to destination. We are going to move packets. What is the packet? It is some set of frames. Fourth layer, presentation transport layer. In the transport layer reliable process to process message delivery and error recoveries. So transport layer mainly contains two parts. First one is called as reliable connection process or reliable processes, processes and message transportation. There are two parts are used in transport layer: process organization or processes working. Second one is message passing and message transportation. The fifth layer is session layer. Session layers are to establish, manage and terminate sessions. So what is the main use of session layer? To establish a proper, secured, manageable connections between two terminals or sessions, and after completion of the transportation, the termination of the session is also done by the same process, same layer. Presentation layer. In the presentation layer, to translate, encrypt and compare data. So in the presentation layer, we may generally use it to translate the data or information into various formats. Encryptions and decryptions and compression of data are all are these are done in presentation layer. Application layer. Application layer is used to allow access to network resources. So application layer is mainly used to connect various resources of the internet, like printers and application programs, database applications, like that, over a network by various number of clients. So data network models. Network models are two types. First one is OSI model. OSI model is called as open system interface. OSI model is called as open systems interface model. Second model is called as TCP by IP protocols or TCP by IP model. Second model is called as TCP by IP model. So second model, first model is OSI reference model. First model is OSI reference model, and the second model is TCP by IP model. TCP by IP model. The layers in the TCP by IP suite do not exactly match those in the OSI model. The original TCP IP protocol suite was defined as having four layers: host to host network, internet, transport and applications. So host to host network, internet layer and transport layer and application layer. However, when TCP IP is compared to OSI, we can say that the TCP IP protocol suite is made of 5 layers: physical, data link layer, network layer, transport and application layers. So what are the different layers in TCP? Second model is TCP by IP, physical layer, data link layer, network layer, transport layer and application layer. So TCP by IP means transmission control protocols, by IP means internet protocol. It is mainly used in internet, and in the network, in the TCP IP, every computer have a unique 4-digit number to identify itself from the in the network of computers. So this is the comparison between TCP by IP and OSI models. So in the network layer, in the TCP IP model, data physical and data link layer are merged or combined. In the network layer, that is internet layer, internet network layer, internet network layer, different addresses or protocols are used, like IP protocol, ERP, like that. Next, transport layer contains different protocols like TCP protocol, UDP, like that. And session layer and presentation layer and application layer, both all these three are combined into application layer. All these three are for named as an application layer, and generally in TCP/IP application layer contains SMTP. All these are protocols: SMTP, FTP, HTTP, DNS, SNM, Telnet, like that. So TCP/IP contains various protocols. First one is host to network protocol, second one is IP protocol, third one is transport layer. Data link layer and physical layer are combined into host to network layer or physical layer. Second one is called as network layer, third one is called as transport layer. Transport layer contains TCP transmission protocol, network layer contains IP protocol, and session layer and presentation layer and application layer, all these three are combined into application layer. And it is application layer is mainly, application layer also contains many other types of protocols like SMTP, FTP, HTTP, DNS, like that. DNS means domain naming service. All these are protocols. DNS contains to give a name of the domain or internet service. HTTP means it is also one of the protocol called hypertext transmission protocol, generally used to transmit hypertext messages like images, pictures, like that. FTP means another protocol, file transfer protocol, to transfer files from one host or one computer from internet to another internet directly. And SMTP is also another protocol. It is a mailing service protocol, generally used to transform mails or messages from using mails. So telnet is another protocol, generally it is used to connect terminals in a computer. So addressing. So what is the different modes of addressing or addressing modes? 4 levels of addresses are used in an internet. 4 levels of addresses are used in an internet employing the TCP/IP protocol, like physical addresses, logical addresses, port and specific. Physical, logical, port and specific. So topics discussed in this section are physical addresses, logical addresses, port addresses, and specific addresses. So addressing means giving each and every device or giving each a unique address. So addresses in TCP/IP. So generally addresses in TCP/IP protocol or layer is divided into physical address, logical address, port addresses, and specific addresses. So relationship of layers and addresses in TCP/IP. Physical address comes underlying physical na phone is physical addresses comes na phone. ఆపరేషన్ చెప్పాలి ఎలా చేయాలి. Physical addresses generally used in physical layer and data link layer in the TCP/IP model, and logical addresses means IP address, logical IP address, and other protocols used in network layers. And port addresses means different ports are used to connect different applications. Different ports addresses are used, different port numbers are used to connect different addresses or different various network devices, like in the transport layer. And the specific addresses means specific unique IP addresses. So these are the 4 different IP addresses used in the TCP/IP model. A node with physical address 10 sends a frame to a node with physical address 87. The 2 nodes are connected by a link bus topology line as the figure shows. So this is another example. All these are examples. So the physical addresses will change from hope to hope or node to node, but the logical addresses usually remain the same. A port address is a 16-bit address represented by one decimal number as shown. So these are the two network models. Both are essay type questions. They are called as the network models. First one is called as OSI, Open System Interface Model, OSI model, and second one is called as TCP/IP model. Both are essay type questions from Unit 2.